watching Numbskull News, and today I need to set the stage a little bit for you. It's about a little after 1 o'clock in the morning here in Fort Worth, Texas, and the wife took a sleep aid, so she's in a pill-induced coma. The kid, my one kid that's left living with us, she's got tore up on pizza and sugar, so she's out for the count. So it's just me and the damn cat. And I kind of like it like that. I like it that I'm the only one still with consciousness in the house. And now I need to set the mood for this video. Yeah. Boom. And boom. There we go. Now that that's done, we're going to talk about ESPN. Working behind the scenes, trying to find a good negotiated settlement between the ACC, FSU, and Clemson. Of course, this is just wild conjecture. This is just rumor. And it's based off of a Twitter thread from a person named C.W. Lambert. And this thread kind of breaks down how ESPN is trying to find a way to work all that out. Now, as I said, just conjecture, just rumor. However, I find there to be a little bit of validity to this particular Twitter thread or X thread, whatever the hell. The reason for it, I got 3 reasons for it. Number 1, this thread is pretty damn detailed. It doesn't seem like things just pulled out of somebody's ass. All of it kind of makes logical sense. I don't know who C.W. Lambert is. Maybe he's a genius and an asshole all at one time, making up stuff and throwing it on Twitter. It just doesn't feel that way to me. Okay. But I got to have more than that to give this a little more validity. Well, there was more than one person who was, quote unquote, reporting this on X. And I don't think they know each other or work together. So there's that. So that's 2 points of validity. My third point is I saw this reporting on Greg Flugar's channel, Peek Around the Corner. And no, he's not like the Oracle or the Bible when it comes to realignment. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying everything he says comes to pass. I'm not saying that. But he takes what he does pretty seriously. Unlike me. He takes what he does seriously. So he's not going to spend a butt ton of time on his live show disseminating this X thread, Twitter thread, unless, he knows the guy. He's had some run-ins with this individual before. They've been on the outs. Apparently they're good now. But he's not going to spend time on BS. Or else every week he'd be running through the Twitter findings from MHVER3. Okay, and nothing against that guy. I got, some people hate the guy. I don't hate the guy. And I don't think Greg Flugar hates the guy. But he doesn't base his channel or any particular live show around MHVER3. So something perked his interest in sharing that with his subscribers and his members on his channel. So with those 3 points of validity, that's exactly what I'm going to give this thing. A little bit of validity. Now, and keep in mind, if this was a Twitter thread from Dennis Dodd, Andrew Marchand, name the big time sports journalist out there, if they had put this on their X thread, Twitter thread, then this shit would have went viral. People would have been freaking out. But since it's a couple people we don't know that threw this out there, you know, it's whatever, right? But I'm not going to go through this thing line by line. You can watch Greg Flugar. He did a masterful job, as usual, doing that. I'm going to hit some points, and then I'm going to make my own points. The first point is some people think this is stupid. You know, some people even say this could be breaking the law. Now I'll get to that point at the end. But what I like about it, because it goes along the lines of what I've been saying for a long time on this channel. ESPN, they have what they value. The SEC may have what they value. People have heard, hey, the SEC really values North Carolina. They want the University of North Carolina. They want the Tar Heels in the SEC. I have broken down many times how I seriously doubt that that's the case, but it may be. However, as I've also said before, does ESPN want UNC? Do they want to pay for them to go to the SEC? Is it worth it to them? That is the SEC's sole media rights partner. And according to this thing, they're trying to find a way so that they don't lose FSU, they don't lose Clemson. Because that's the majority of the viewership of the ACC. That's the majority of the value. Something else Mr. Lambert said, that people have been making this old-timey argument, if you will, about carriage fees and all this kind of crap. That's not the future. The future is streaming. And what's important now in a streaming world, because ESPN is going to go straight to consumer. No cable bundle, no satellite bundle, straight to streaming, straight to consumer. And in that world, what is valuable? Because the cable world and the streaming world are two different things. In streaming, it's viewership, it's brand, it's premium matchups. FSU and Clemson are the only ones that offer that. All three. So, of course, ESPN wants them in the SEC. So they're trying to find a way to finagle this thing. And I totally believe ESPN is behind the scenes doing that, because they were behind the scenes with Texas and OU, getting them to the SEC. And I'm still waiting for the Justice Department to come down on ESPN and Disney for doing so. Hasn't happened yet, has it? Neither has it happened with the Big Ten and 4 schools they got out of the pack. Didn't see that. I didn't see any part of that. Have you heard anything from the Justice Department? I have not. Nor the Justice League. Haven't heard from either one. Apparently Batman doesn't give a damn. So I'm not all that worried about all that stuff. Anyway, I'll continue on with that later. But for now, let's stick to this. So they want FSU and Clemson, but you gotta give the ACC something. How about survival? We'll offer you survival. We'll opt into the contract till 2036. Now, I knew they had a card to play. I just didn't know how they would play it. And according to this, or I should say these reports, that's exactly what they're going to offer. But they're not going to let them make the same money they're making now. That's the big caveat. They will be making significantly less than the Big 12. You're losing Florida State. You're losing Clemson. We'll let you survive. We will continue to pay you It's just going to be at a lesser rate. Now, something that Lambert, or I haven't heard anyone else discuss, it's not just the media rights that are going to go down, because as soon as Florida State and Clemson go to the SEC, boom, that will trigger the look-in for the CFP. And what happens then? Well, that's $21 million per school for Florida State and Clemson that they're going to need for their part of the CFP. Everybody else in the SEC isn't going to take less off their CFP payout so that Florida State and Clemson can get paid. No. What that look-in allows you to do is take that and carve that right out of the ACC's ass. So, that $13 million, I think it's like $1 million more than the Big 12 gets paid. Well, that's going to come down by $42 million a year. So whatever that math is, it's going to be less than the Big 12 on a CFP payout per team, losing Florida State and losing Clemson. Now, he gave examples, Lambert, of other things they're going to offer. Like the ACC is going to be able to keep some revenue from home games, unsure of what percentage that could be. That's part of the backroom dealings possibly that's going on. Is it going to be 50%, 35%? Who knows? And then, you'll start as soon as Florida State and Clemson leave and they're playing games in the SEC, those home games, whatever percentage of the money will be paid to the ACC, and that percentage will decline over time. And there's other things that he's talked about where they can also get from Florida State and Clemson, guarantee of games once a year, things like that can help smooth things over. But a lot of things in there to be negotiated. As Greg Pflugar himself said, there's a lot of hurdles to allowing that to happen. And what Mr. Lambert was saying, that the ACC needs to take heed, because if they don't agree, then ESPN just simply won't opt in. And then they're done in 2027. Now, what the ACC has said is that those rights are through 2036, regardless of anything with ESPN. According to this report, and this is something I believe and I have said in other videos, not because I know anybody, just because it makes logical sense, and that is, if that ESPN contract ends in 2027, then the grant of rights itself, the ACC, is now in breach of contract, because that extension is based off of a deal with ESPN through 2036. So if it ends in 2027, then there goes your grant of rights. There goes the thing that's going to tie all these schools together, and everyone can do whatever the hell they want to do. Now, at that point, FSU and Clemson become free agents. But I have a feeling if they do this, then they'll tell Florida State and Clemson, hey, we can easily just opt in and screw you guys and keep you in the ACC. And you have to go through all this litigation to maybe get out. Or, well, it says, the ACC doesn't want to play ball, so we're not going to opt in, so that you can get out for free in 2027. And we, in exchange for doing that for you, come to the SEC. Either way, they come to the SEC, and that's kind of what I've been saying for a while. I still believe that's going to happen, and it's going to be something ESPN works out. Because keep in mind, the Big Ten have no rights at all in the ACC. They're going to have to wait until ESPN and the SEC do what they're going to do with the ACC before they, the Big Ten, can do anything or possibly get a team or two. So the question is, with this rumor, with this conjecture, with this reporting, would the ACC say, yes, we want to survive past Florida State and Clemson leaving, past 2027 to 2036. In order for them to accept this deal, they're going to have a vote from every member. Keep in mind, that does not include Stanford, Cal, or SMU, not until this summer when they become official members. So if a negotiated deal happens before that time, well, then they don't get a vote, do they? No, they don't. So create a little visual aid so we can kind of go through who would vote yes and who would vote no in the ACC for this deal, and possibly reasons why. All right, right off the jump, and what is it, like 3/4 vote they need? I got Wake Forest, Boston College, Syracuse, and possibly Georgia Tech in the yes column. Now, that could change if they get wind that they have a place in the Big 12. Then maybe that goes no. So if for all you people that say, well, the ACC, these teams, they don't want to go to the Big 12. Keep in mind, on this, if they accept this type of negotiated deal with FSU and Clemson, their media rights money is going to go down. That also triggers the look-in, and their CFP money goes down. So overall, they're going to be making considerably less money than the Big 12. So if you have a possible Big 12 option at the least, you're not going to vote for this BS to continue on to 2036. You would rather ESPN just implode this conference and get the hell to the Big 12 or anywhere else you want to go. So right away, I have those 4 as yeses. So who is my automatic no? Number 1, automatic no. The reason for it, because if nothing else, they know damn well they can get into the Big 12. They know that. And I think they would like a shot at the Big 10. That would be their number 1 option, of course. But how do you know until you can become a free agent? If you can become a free agent in 2027, then you take your shot at the Big 10. If for whatever reason the Big 10 doesn't bite, they know at least they can get to the Big 12. So either way, they'll be making more money than staying in the ACC. So they will vote no on that. Same thing with Louisville. All right. They're going to take their shot at the SEC and the Big 10. Just like, Utah did. I'm sure the other 4 corners made their phone calls and found out that, the Big 12 looks like a nice option. That's what they found out. That's what Louisville will find out. That, hey, Big 12 making good money. We got, we get into the CFP and everything's all good. So they will vote no. UNC and North Carolina State. This is very interesting. Number 1, UNC ain't voting for this kind of deal. They are not going to lose money staying in the ACC. Hell no. That ain't happening for them. And NC State, now, they don't have to vote the same as UNC. I think they'll work together. Because of the Board of Governors, the rules have changed. It's going to be damn hard for UNC to go to a conference outside of the ACC without North Carolina State. It's going to be really difficult. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's going to be a pain in the ass. And I'm here to tell you right now, the Big 10 and the SEC do not want North Carolina State. Even if they saw so much value in UNC that they would take them, Fox and ESPN will absolutely not do that. So I think they're going to work together. They're going to both vote no, because UNC has their eyes on bigger prizes than losing money in the ACC. And NC State at this point, especially with the Board of Governors, they will go along with it because they don't want to be left out. And the same thing I said about Miami holds true for UNC and North Carolina State. If they can't get into the SEC because ESPN doesn't want them, or they can't get into the Big Ten because Fox doesn't want them, they know pretty damn well they'll have a home in the Big 12. So that's the reason why they'll do it, why they'll vote no. And I think the same holds true for Virginia and Virginia Tech. I think they'll work together. I think they'll vote together, and I believe they'll both vote no. Because if you're Virginia Tech, you probably feel pretty damn good at your chances of getting into the Big 12, at the very least. And you would like a shot at, one of the big two. Virginia the same way. And I think they feel that they'll probably have a spot in the Big 12 if it came down to it. And I'm sure in some kind of backroom phone call, they could find that out. And it's going to be the same thing with any of these schools. If they know they at least have a spot in the Big 12, they will vote no because they can make more money in the Big 12. These two are my undecideds. I'm not sure how Duke will vote for this. I think if they don't have a good feeling of at least landing in the Big 12, they'll vote yes for the survival of the ACC. If they feel, for some reason, perhaps a small phone call to Brett Yormark, who really knows the value of college basketball, if they feel that, hey, there really is a legitimate place in the Big 12, then there'll be a no vote. With Notre Dame, I know they want to vote yes. I know they do. But they also really value their independence, and they can't afford to make less money in the ACC, right? The last payout was $17 million. How much will that drop with the exit of Florida State and Clemson? How much less is that media rights deal? And what is that going to affect? How is that going to affect Notre Dame? So that's something, because those 5 games they can sell to whomever, or they can straight up do the same kind of deal with the Big 12 and make their money that way, possibly even make more with the Big 12. So it's make less or make more. Which one do you want to do? One gets you further away from keeping your independence. One helps you maintain your independence longer. However, Notre Dame is a little, how shall I say this? A little quirky. Hard to predict sometimes. So I'm going to leave them in the undecided here. So as I look at it, from all available members that can vote for this, because we know how Florida State and Clemson would vote, they would, of course, want to vote yes for this. So that would be, from my math, 6-6. If you have 6 no votes, 6 yes votes, 2 undecideds, this thing isn't going to pass, people. It's not. If it's a 3/4 vote, anywhere close to that, no, this doesn't pass, and the ACC dies in 2027. Now, what we've heard, also, some conjecture out there, is that the pro rata has been put back on the table by ESPN and Fox, but they will only approve pro rata for 2 more teams. Now, that can help push this thing, some people from the no column into the yes column. It absolutely could. If you're telling people, well, if you don't do this, you don't have a home in the Big 12. And if you see those 6 schools, they can feel pretty self-assured. There's going to be a spot for them. So, I don't know. I don't know if they can even get a 3/4 vote. I don't know if they can get enough yeses on this thing. And of course, as a Big 12 fan, with all my biases fully intact, I want there to be a lot of no votes. I want ESPN to destroy the ACC because that helps the Big 12. And no, I don't feel bad about it. It's survival of the fittest. This is Darwinism right here playing out science. So it's the natural course of the universe happening in college football. And this isn't me being smug or anything else. The Big 12 got hit with many comets, several asteroids. We're still standing. Whether you consider it luck, divine intervention, a miracle, whatever it is, the Big 12 is standing stronger than they've been in a long time. And if the ACC self-destructs, we can win big time with this. Big time. And that's the biggest way to keep and grow your seat at the table with the big boys of the college football universe. And to wrap this whole thing up, yeah, Moen from the Big 12 Mafia and several other people have been talking about lawsuits, possible legal action taken against ESPN for doing this. Like I said, there hasn't been any legal action against Fox or ESPN for the dealings they've already done getting big time schools out early and into their other conferences that they have media rights deals with. So I don't know what would be different this time. Texas and OU, that was orchestrated by ESPN. And not to mention, when you're talking the Justice Department, they kind of work at behest of the executive branch of the United States of America. That would be the president. Who's the president? That's Joe Biden. And the Biden administration loves Disney. They're on the same side. And they run the Justice Department. So, I don't think ESPN has anything to worry about. And besides, them and Disney have an army of lawyers on retainer. So when they want to make moves like this, they know what dark corners and what back alleys to go to where there's no ring cameras, there's no closed circuit TV anywhere, not even so much as a smoke signal, nothing. So yeah, can they get away with it? You bet your ass they can get away with it, and I'm sure they're attempting that as we speak. Anyway, that's all I got on this crap, and I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye.